Practical English Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's practice session. I'm Mia, and I'm so happy you're here with me. Today, we're focusing on something that makes many English learners nervous: job interview conversations. If you've ever felt anxious about interviewing in English, you're not alone. Many people worry about understanding the questions, finding the right words, or making a good impression. But here's the good news. With the right preparation and practice, you can feel confident and ready for any interview. In this session, we'll practice real interview conversations together. You'll hear common questions, learn how to answer them naturally, and build the confidence you need to succeed. So take a comfortable position, relax, and let's practice together. Before we dive into practice, let me explain something important. Interview English is different from everyday conversation English. In a normal conversation, you can take your time, ask questions back, or change the topic easily. But in an interview, you need to answer questions directly, show your qualifications clearly, and make a strong impression quickly. Interviewers use specific questions to understand your experience, your skills, and how you think. They want to hear not just what you know, but how you communicate. That's why practicing interview conversations is so valuable. You're not just learning vocabulary, you're learning how to present yourself professionally in English. Today's practice will help you, first, understand common interview questions and what interviewers really want to know. Second, practice answering confidently with clear, professional responses. Third, learn the phrases and expressions that make you sound natural and fluent. By the end of this session, you'll feel much more prepared for your next interview in English. Let's begin with our first conversation. The most common interview question is, "Tell me about yourself." This seems simple, but many people struggle with it. They don't know where to start or what to include. Let me show you an effective way to answer this question. Then we'll practice together. Listen to this example conversation.
Thank you for coming today. To start, could you tell me about yourself?
Of course. I have 5 years of experience in marketing, specifically in digital campaigns. I graduated from State University with a degree in business administration, and since then I've worked with 3 different companies, helping them grow their online presence. In my current role at Tech Solutions, I manage a team of 4 people, and we've increased our social media engagement by 40% over the last year. I'm passionate about using data to create effective marketing strategies, and that's what attracted me to this position at your company.
First, it's structured. The candidate starts with their experience, mentions education briefly, talks about their current role, and connects it to the new position. Second, it includes specific numbers. 5 years, 40%, team of 4. Numbers make your answer concrete and memorable. Third, it shows passion. The candidate mentions what they're passionate about, which shows genuine interest. Now, let's practice. I'll ask the question, and you can pause this recording to answer out loud, then listen to another example. Tell me about yourself. Here's another way to answer.
I'd be happy to. I'm a software developer with 3 years of experience building web applications. I studied computer science at Central College, where I discovered my love for coding. Since graduating, I've worked primarily with JavaScript and Python, creating solutions for e-commerce companies. What I enjoy most is solving complex problems and seeing how my work helps businesses operate more efficiently. When I saw this opening at your company, I was excited because you're known for innovative technology solutions.
This answer follows the same structure but with different details: experience, education, skills, passion, and connection to the company. The key is to keep your answer between 1 and 2 minutes, not too short, not too long. Practice your own version using this structure. Start with your experience, mention education briefly, highlight your current or recent role, show what you're passionate about, and connect to the company you're interviewing with. Another very common question is, why do you want this job? Or why are you interested in this position? This question tests whether you've researched the company and whether you have genuine interest. Let me show you a strong answer.
Why do you want to work for our company?
I've been following your company for the past year, and I'm really impressed by your commitment to sustainable business practices. As someone who cares deeply about environmental issues, working for a company that shares those values is important to me. Additionally, I've read about your recent expansion into the Asian market, and I believe my experience with international clients could contribute to that growth. I'm looking for a role where I can make a meaningful impact, and I think this position offers exactly that opportunity.
What makes this answer effective? First, it shows research. The candidate mentions specific things about the company, sustainable practices, and Asian market expansion. Second, it connects personal values with company values. This creates an authentic connection. Third, it explains how the candidate can contribute. It's not just about what the candidate wants, but what they can offer.
What interests you about this role?
There are three main reasons. First, your company is recognized as an industry leader in innovation, and I want to learn from the best. Second, this position offers challenges that align perfectly with my skills in project management and team leadership. And third, I'm excited about your mentorship program, which shows you invest in employee development. I'm at a point in my career where I want to grow, and this role offers exactly the kind of growth opportunities I'm seeking.
Notice how this answer gives 3 clear reasons and explains each one. This structure works well. State your reasons clearly, then explain each one briefly. Avoid saying things like, I need a job or the salary is good. Focus on what genuinely attracts you to the company and role. Practice your answer now. Think about, what do you know about the company? How does this role match your skills? What opportunities does this job offer for your growth? Interviewers often ask you to describe specific experiences from your work history. They might say, tell me about a time when you faced a challenge at work, or describe a project you're proud of. These are called behavioral questions, and they require storytelling. Here's an effective way to structure your answer using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Listen to this example.
Can you tell me about a time when you had to solve a difficult problem?
Certainly. In my previous role, we had a situation where our biggest client was unhappy with our service response time. They were considering switching to a competitor. That was the situation. My task was to find a solution quickly to retain the client. So I took action by first meeting with the client to understand their specific concerns. Then I worked with my team to implement a new ticketing system that prioritized urgent requests. I also assigned a dedicated account manager to this client. As a result, their satisfaction improved significantly, and not only did they stay with us, but they actually increased their contract by 20%.
Let's break down this answer. Situation: client unhappy, might leave. Task: retain the client. Action: met with client, implemented new system, assigned manager. Result: client stayed and increased contract. This structure makes your answer clear and easy to follow. Here's another example.
Tell me about a project you successfully completed.
I'd be happy to. Last year, my company wanted to launch a mobile app, but we had a tight 3-month deadline. That was the situation. As the project lead, my task was to coordinate between the design team, developers, and marketing department. I created a detailed timeline with weekly milestones and held daily check-ins to ensure everyone stayed on track. When we encountered technical issues halfway through, I negotiated with stakeholders to adjust some features while keeping the core functionality intact. We launched the app on time, and within the first month we had 10,000 downloads and excellent user reviews.
Notice how the STAR method keeps the answer organized and focused. When you practice answering behavioral questions, always include the situation or challenge, what you were responsible for, specific actions you took, and the positive results you achieved. Numbers and specific details make your answer more credible and memorable. One of the trickiest questions in interviews is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? The strengths part is usually easier, but many people struggle with discussing weaknesses. Let me show you how to handle both effectively. For strengths,
What would you say are your greatest strengths?
I would say my greatest strength is my ability to communicate clearly with different types of people. Whether I'm explaining technical concepts to non-technical colleagues or presenting to senior executives, I adapt my communication style to my audience. For example, in my current role, I regularly bridge the gap between our IT department and our sales team, helping both sides understand each other's needs. This has led to more efficient project implementations and better team collaboration.
this answer works because it names a specific strength, explains what it means with examples, and shows how it benefits the workplace. Now for weaknesses. The keys to be honest but strategic.
What would you say is your biggest weakness?
I tend to be a perfectionist, which sometimes means I spend more time on tasks than necessary. For instance, when preparing presentations, I might revise them multiple times to get every detail right. However, I've been working on this by setting time limits for myself and reminding myself that done is better than perfect. I've also learned to prioritize which tasks truly need that extra attention and which ones just need to be completed efficiently. This has helped me become more productive while still maintaining high quality in my work.
Notice this structure. Admit a real weakness, give a specific example, explain what you're doing to improve. The weakness should be genuine, but not something that would prevent you from doing the job well. Avoid saying, I work too hard, or I care too much. These sound insincere. Also, avoid weaknesses that are critical for the job. If you're applying for an accounting position, don't say you're bad with numbers. Notice this structure. Admit a real weakness, give a specific example, explain what you're doing to improve. The weakness should be genuine, but not something that would prevent you from doing the job well. Avoid saying, I work too hard, or I care too much. These sound insincere. Also, avoid weaknesses that are critical for the job. If you're applying for an accounting position, don't say you're bad with numbers. Choose a weakness you're actively working to improve and show self-awareness and commitment to growth. Interviewers want to know how you handle pressure and conflict. They might ask, tell me about a time you disagreed with your boss, or how do you handle stress? These questions assess your professionalism and problem-solving skills. Here's an example.
Tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker. How did you handle it?
In my previous position, I worked with a colleague who had a very different working style than mine. I preferred to plan everything in advance, while she tended to work more spontaneously. This caused some tension when we were assigned to work on a project together. We had different ideas about deadlines and priorities. I realized we needed to address this directly, so I invited her for coffee and we talked openly about our working styles. We agreed to create a shared project timeline that included both structured milestones and flexibility for creative exploration. By acknowledging our differences and finding a compromise, we actually produced better work than either of us could have done alone. The project was very successful and we developed a respectful working relationship.
This answer demonstrates professionalism, addressing the issue directly, not complaining, communication skills, having an open conversation, problem solving, finding a compromise, positive outcome, successful project. Here's another example about handling stress.
How do you handle stressful situations at work?
I've learned that stress often comes from feeling overwhelmed, so I've developed a system to manage it. When I'm facing multiple urgent tasks, I first list everything that needs to be done, then prioritize based on deadlines and importance. I also break large projects into smaller, manageable steps. Additionally, I communicate clearly with my team and my manager about realistic timelines. During particularly busy periods, I make sure to take short breaks to stay focused, and I maintain healthy habits outside of work, like exercise and adequate sleep. This approach has helped me remain productive even during challenging times. For example, during our company's busiest quarter last year, I successfully managed 3 major projects simultaneously without compromising quality.
This answer shows self-awareness about stress triggers, practical strategies for managing stress, communication with team members, specific example of success. When answering questions about challenges, always end with a positive result or lesson learned. Most jobs require working with others, so interviewers often ask about teamwork. Questions like, "Are you a team player?" or "Tell me about a successful team project." Here's how to answer effectively.
How would you describe your approach to teamwork?
I believe effective teamwork starts with clear communication and mutual respect. In team settings, I make sure everyone understands our shared goals and individual responsibilities. I'm comfortable both leading and supporting, depending on what the team needs. For instance, in my current role, I lead our weekly team meetings where we coordinate tasks and solve problems together. But I'm equally happy to support my colleagues when they're leading projects. I think the best teams are ones where everyone feels valued and heard, so I always make an effort to listen to others' ideas and contribute constructively to discussions.
This answer covers core teamwork values, flexibility in role, specific example, inclusive approach. Another way to discuss teamwork.
Tell me about a time when you contributed to a team's success.
Last year, our team was tasked with improving customer satisfaction scores, which had dropped significantly. During our first team meeting, I suggested we create a customer feedback system to better understand the issues. My teammates liked the idea, so I volunteered to develop the survey and analyze the responses. What we discovered was that customers wanted faster response times. Based on this data, our team implemented several changes, including a new support ticket system and extended service hours. Within 3 months, our satisfaction scores increased by 30%. The success came from everyone's contributions, but I was proud to have initiated the research that guided our strategy.
This example shows team collaboration, personal initiative, data-driven decision-making, and measurable success. When talking about teamwork, balance showing your individual contributions with acknowledging others' roles. Avoid taking all the credit or giving all the credit away. Show you're a team player who also adds unique value. Interviewers often want to know about your career plans. They ask questions like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" or "What are your career goals?" These questions help them understand if you're a good, long-term fit for the company. Here's a strong response.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself as an expert in this field with significant contributions to your company's growth. Specifically, I'd like to develop deeper expertise in data analytics and possibly take on leadership responsibilities, perhaps managing a small team. I'm interested in continuous learning, so I hope to complete relevant certifications and possibly pursue an advanced degree part-time. Most importantly, I want to be in an environment where I'm challenged and growing, which is why this company appeals to me. Your reputation for promoting from within and supporting professional development aligns perfectly with my goals.
This answer works because it shows ambition, remains realistic, aligns with the company, and demonstrates commitment to growth. Here's another approach.
What are your long-term career goals?
My primary goal is to become a recognized expert in project management, specifically in the technology sector. I want to lead complex international projects that make a real difference. In the short term, I'm focused on building my skills in agile methodologies and earning my PMP certification, which I'm studying for now. Medium term, I'd love to mentor junior project managers and contribute to improving project management processes within an organization. Long term, I aspire to reach a senior leadership position where I can shape company strategy. I see this role as an important step toward those goals as it offers exposure to large-scale projects and opportunities to learn from experienced leaders.
This shows clear progression, specific goals, continuous learning, and connection to your current role. When discussing future plans, be ambitious but realistic. Show you've thought about your career path. Connect your goals to the company's opportunities, and demonstrate commitment without suggesting you'll leave quickly. Avoid saying, "I want your boss's job," or being too vague, like, "I just want to be successful." One of the most uncomfortable topics in interviews is discussing salary. But it's important, and you need to handle it professionally. Here's how to approach salary questions.
What are your salary expectations?
Based on my research of similar positions in this industry and location, and considering my 5 years of relevant experience, I believe a range of $60,000 to $70,000 annually would be appropriate. However, I'm open to discussion, and I'd love to hear what range you have budgeted for this role. I'm also very interested in the complete compensation package, including benefits, professional development opportunities, and growth potential.
This answer shows you've done research, gives a range, not a specific number, remains flexible, considers total compensation, not just salary. Another way to handle this question early in the interview.
Before we go further, what salary are you looking for?
I'm focusing primarily on finding the right fit where I can contribute and grow. I'm confident we can reach an agreement on compensation that reflects my skills and experience. Could you share the range you've budgeted for this position? That would help guide our conversation.
This response defers the specific number discussion, shows focus on the role, not just money, and asks them to share first. If they insist on a number, be prepared with a researched range. Key tips for salary discussions. Research typical salaries for the role and location beforehand. Give a range, not an exact number. Consider the total package, not just base salary. Be prepared to negotiate, but remain professional. Never lie about your current or past salary. If they make an offer that's too low,
Thank you for the offer. I'm very excited about this opportunity. Based on my research and experience, I was hoping for something closer to the $70,000 range. Is there flexibility in the offer?
at the end of most interviews, they'll ask, "Do you have any questions for us?" This is not optional. You should always have questions prepared. Good questions show you're seriously interested and thinking critically about the role. Here are examples of strong questions. Could you describe what a typical day looks like in this role? This shows you want to understand the actual work. What are the biggest challenges facing the team right now? This demonstrates you want to understand problems you'd need to solve. How do you measure success in this position? This shows you care about performance and meeting expectations. What opportunities are there for professional development and growth? This indicates you're thinking long term. Can you tell me about the team I'd be working with? This shows interest in collaboration and team dynamics. What do you enjoy most about working here? This is a great question because it's personal and can reveal company culture. Here's an example of how this part of the interview might go.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I have a few questions. First, could you tell me more about the team structure? How large is the team and how would this role fit into it?
Great question. The team currently has 8 members, including a team leader, 5 specialists, and 2 junior associates. This role would be one of the specialist positions, working closely with the team leader on key projects. You'd also have opportunities to mentor the junior associates, which is something we encourage.
Thank you, that's helpful. I'm also curious about the company's plans for the next year. Are there any major initiatives or changes on the horizon?
Yes, actually, we're expanding into the European market next quarter, which is a major focus for us. We're also launching a new product line in the second half of the year. This role would be involved in both initiatives, particularly in the market research and strategy development phases.
That's exciting. One last question. What are the next steps in the interview process, and when might I expect to hear from you?
Notice how the candidate asks about the team, the company's future, and the process itself. Questions to avoid. What does your company do? Shows you didn't research. How much vacation time do I get? Focus should be on the work. Do you monitor employee internet usage? Raises red flags. Questions answered on the company website shows a lack of preparation. Always prepare at least 5 good questions. You might not ask all of them, but it's better to have more than you need. Now, let's talk about common mistakes people make in English job interviews and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1. Speaking too quickly because you're nervous. When we're anxious, we tend to rush, but speaking too fast makes you harder to understand and can make you seem less confident. Solution: take a breath before answering each question. Speak at a moderate pace. It's okay to pause and think. Mistake number 2. Giving yes or no answers. Interviewer: do you work well under pressure? Wrong. Yes. Right. Yes, I do. In fact, in my last position, I regularly handled multiple urgent projects simultaneously. I've developed strong time management skills that help me stay focused and productive even in high-pressure situations. Always elaborate on your answers with examples and details. Mistake number 3. Speaking negatively about previous employers. Even if you had a bad experience, never criticize former bosses or companies in an interview. It reflects poorly on you. Instead of, my last boss was terrible and didn't appreciate my work, say, I'm looking for new challenges and opportunities to grow in my career. Mistake number 4. Not understanding the question. If you don't understand what they're asking, it's perfectly fine to ask for clarification. You can say, could you repeat that question, please? I want to make sure I understand. Are you asking about... That's an interesting question. Could you clarify what you mean by... This is much better than answering the wrong question. Mistake number 5. Failing to prepare examples. Don't wait until the interview to think of examples. Prepare stories beforehand about challenges you've overcome, projects you're proud of, times you showed leadership, how you've worked in teams, conflicts you've resolved. Having these examples ready makes you more confident and articulate. Mistake number 6, forgetting to show enthusiasm. Even if you're nervous, try to show genuine interest in the role and company. Smile, make eye contact, and let your enthusiasm come through in your voice. Employers want to hire people who genuinely want to be there. Let me share some practical tips that will help you succeed in your English job interviews. Tip 1. Practice out loud. Reading answers in your head is not enough. You need to practice speaking them aloud. This helps you become comfortable with the words and phrasing. Record yourself answering common questions, then listen back. This helps you identify areas for improvement. Tip 2. Learn industry-specific vocabulary. Every field has its own terminology. Make sure you know the key words and phrases used in your industry in English. If you're in finance, know terms like quarterly reports, revenue, budget forecast. If you're in technology, understand agile methodology, user interface, debugging. Tip 3. Prepare your materials. Have copies of your resume ready. Bring a notebook and pen. Have a list of references prepared. Being organized shows professionalism and preparedness. Tip 4. Plan your outfit. Dress appropriately for the company culture. When in doubt, err on the side of being slightly more formal. Feeling confident in what you're wearing helps you focus on the interview itself. Tip 5. Arrive early. Plan to arrive 10 to 15 minutes before your scheduled time. This gives you a buffer for unexpected delays and time to compose yourself. If it's a video interview, test your technology at least 1 hour before. Check your internet connection, camera, and microphone. Tip 6. Follow up after the interview. Send a thank you email within 24 hours. Keep it brief but sincere. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me yesterday. I enjoyed learning more about the position and your team. I'm very excited about the opportunity to contribute to specific thing discussed. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you need any additional information. I look forward to hearing from you about the next steps. This shows professionalism and keeps you fresh in their minds. Tip 7. Learn from each interview. After every interview, write notes about questions you were asked, how you answered, what went well, what you could improve. Each interview is a learning experience that prepares you for the next one. We've covered a lot today, and I want to end with some encouragement. Interviewing in English can feel intimidating, especially if English isn't your first language. But remember, the company is interviewing you because they're interested in what you can offer. Your skills and experience are valuable. The interview is simply a conversation where you demonstrate that value. Many successful professionals have interviewed in English as a second language. With preparation and practice, you can absolutely do this. Here's your practice plan for the coming week. Day 1 and 2, write out your answers to the most common questions we discussed today. Focus on, tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? And what are your strengths? Day 3 and 4, practice saying your answers out loud. Record yourself if possible, listen back, and refine your responses. Day 5, research the companies you're interested in. Prepare specific examples of how your experience matches their needs. Day 6, prepare questions to ask interviewers. Write down at least 5 good questions. Day 7, do a mock interview with a friend or record yourself answering random questions. This builds confidence and helps you think on your feet. Remember these key principles. Be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. Let your genuine personality and enthusiasm show. Be specific. Use concrete examples and numbers whenever possible. Be positive. Even when discussing challenges, focus on solutions and what you learned. Be prepared. Research the company, practice your answers, and plan ahead. Be confident. You have valuable skills and experience. Believe in yourself. The most important thing is practice. The more you practice, the more natural and confident you'll become. I believe in you. You've taken the time to practice today, which shows you're serious about succeeding. Keep practicing, stay positive, and trust in your abilities. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this practice session has helped you feel more prepared and confident for your English job interviews. Good luck with your interviews. I know you're going to do great. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep moving toward your goals. See you in the next session.